Hello, Professor Toybox here, along with Zeb Aurelios from the Star Wars Rebels cartoon, and I'm back in my Anoat City Sewer toy box, where I'm recreating mission number 3 of the 1994 Star Wars Dark Forces game. Today I'm working on the pressure-sensitive elevator platforms that you find throughout the complex here, and the first one is down at the end of this starting corridor. And as you approach the corridor, the end of the corridor here, it looks like a dead end, but when you walk all the way up to the top and you step on the floor surface that's going to be here, it'll automatically descend down into that hidden area, and you'll find some power-ups and things down there, and then when you come back and you step on that floor surface again, it will automatically ascend and take you back up here. So that's what I'm going to build today, and I'm only going to show you how I built the first one here. The rest of them are built the same way. First of all, we're going to move the block out of our way. I had placed this here temporarily, and we'll put it down here. And I've already dropped down the sound generator that's up here. We're going to connect up to that in a moment. And the next thing we're going to need to do is put down the path. So we'll come to the Creativitoys drawer, and the initial starting point for this block is going to be, I want the top of it to be flush with this floor surface right here. And the path point, though, is going to be underneath the block at the bottom of it. So if I were to put this path here and then put the block in, it's going to sit on top of this point. So I need to put this one block down. So right there. And then it's going to descend, and again, I don't want to put it here because that'll be too high up. It needs to come one block lower. So that's where the point needs to be, so that the block will sit at the correct height. And you'll see in a moment as we connect that up. So first, let's edit the path grader properties, and the speed, I'm going to set this to be 67. And there's a reason for that. The sound effect that I'm going to play, I want to start playing as soon as the block moves, and I want it to end when the block stops moving. And the sound effect has a certain duration, so this speed should be about the right speed. Some trial and error that I found as I was playing with this earlier ahead of this video. And I do not want to auto start the block when it's connected to the path. Alright, so now that that's set, we can attach the block. So new path connection. There. And now the block is sitting right on top of that path, and it's right at the height where I want it to be. So next we'll set the block properties. And the speed doesn't really matter. It'll use the default from the path. And all of these settings are fine except for the movement style. I want to change this to back and forth, because it's going to go up and it's going to go down. Alright, so there we have the path and we have the block connected to it. Now we need some way to trigger the block to move, and for that we're going to use a trigger area. And the trigger area, I'm going to place about like so. So this way, one block high off the top of the block there. So you have to be standing on it, or at least it'll look that way. And then for the back side of this, we want to bring this all the way down. Oops. And we could put it here, except that the way the trigger area works, when you enter it, it's basically as soon as you break the plane of it. And so we may actually run into that trigger area as far as what the game is concerned without actually being on top of that block yet. Certain characters, the way they're shaped, that will actually happen. And so what I really want to do then is make sure I'm on the block. So I'm going to put it so that it's at about the halfway point on the block, like so. And really the part of this that matters is the bottom here. So as we're approaching from the bottom, if we walk across the top and break that front plane, that's okay because the platform is going to descend, and we can continue walking forward and step onto the block. And oops, I need to move this over. Good thing I was looking at this a little bit more. Need to make sure it extends the whole width of the surface. So as we walk onto the platform, we'll break this plane here at the beginning. It'll start to descend and we can drop onto it. On the other side of it, though, in order to break this plane, we'll actually have to be on the platform, and that makes sure we're on it as it rises. So hopefully that makes sense to you. So on the trigger area, we want to do a new logic connection when entered by player any. And I'm going to come down to the block, and we're going to start the block moving. And then to stop it, we need to come to each of the point paths here. So on the path grader, the very first point, this will be the point it hits when it's ascending. We'll do a new logic connection when the point is reached by the object on the path. Make sure I got the right block selected here. There we go. We'll go ahead and stop the block from moving. And we'll need to do the exact same thing for this point down here. So new logic connection when point reached by the object on the path. Come up to the block and say stop. And that will take care of the block movement. So we step onto it up here, it'll descend until it reaches this point, and then it'll stop. We step off and go exploring. We come back, and when we step on the block, it breaks the backside of the trigger area, starts the block moving upward, and when it reaches that point, the block stops moving. So the last thing we need is some kind of a sound effect, and for that we're going to hook up to the sound generator. So on the trigger area, new logic connection when entered by player any. Come over to the sound generator. And under the general category, there's a humming machinery sound that we've used before that I think will work quite well. There we go. And that's it. Let's give it a try. So we come up the corridor, and it looks like it's a dead end. If we turn around and go back, we'll miss the secret area, but if we go forward, perfect. So there we are, and we walk back, and the floor rises. So that works out pretty good. There's one problem, though, that I see, and that is that the platform kind of disappears because it sits actually below the surface of that flooring. So I may want to put some other kind of flooring in there. And yeah, because the reason being, if I move forward and come back, I need something that's under here. And I probably need some other kind of little block over there on the back side of that too, because we can see underneath, and also we don't want to run too far there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this little section of flooring out. And it might be easier to see from under here. That's the section that's causing us a little bit of trouble. And we'll come back over and raise that floor up. Wow. The camera is going to be a little bit problematic there. Okay, so now that we got that, we can go ahead and drop down another block. And I'm going to do let's see, the path comes down there, so we want to put this block here actually. Is that right? No, I had it right. That's where the path is, so we'll put that there. And I think that texture is probably fine. And then we'll need some kind of a terrain block under here. And we can put down this one, for example. And I'm going to set this to be Dusty Crop Hopper's Runway. It'll look like a nice stony texture anyway. So that should look a little bit better. So now when we descend, you can see the floor surface that you're supposed to step on. And we now have a block there. I think I'll change that to match the texture that's above it. And then when we step on it, there we go. So that's how you build a pressure-sensitive elevator platform. It's a pretty cool little feature that's easy to make, and you can use it in just about any toy box setting, modern, futuristic, or even fantasy. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching it and spending a little time with me today, and thank you to all of my subscribers and followers. It's wonderful to know that there's still a lot of people who enjoy Disney Infinity, and not just me. This is still my all-time favorite game. There's nothing else like it out there. If you want to follow my progress on this series or see what other toy boxes I build in the future, be sure to subscribe to my channel or sign up on my blog. And as always, you'll find floor plans and logic diagrams and other build tips on my blog to help you recreate my toy boxes on your own console or PC, so you can have some new things to play in Disney Infinity. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.